the most wonderful time of the year. Oh, yes, we are going to put Mariah Carey out of work, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Welcome,
she better
guys.
watch out.
Welcome, guys. We are back with the Seraphine podcast and my YouTube channel. I'm here with Chelsea Atia, and we are going into Christmas, and we are both so excited.
Can you believe it's Christmas already?
I know.
Like in a month and a half.
It's so crazy.
It's wild.
It's so crazy. We decided to do something really fun because it's both of our favorite holiday.
Yeah.
So we're going balls to the Christmas walls or trees, and we are literally going to be going into every Christmas movie that looks interesting.
Yeah,
or
all
fun.
the new ones.
All the new ones.
Maybe even a couple classics here and there.
It's going to be so good. So we came up with a scorecard that you will be able to find on my Instagram, and you can also find it on my personal website, which is seraphine.com, to have fun with us and go with the ratings.
And if you post it and tag us, I don't know, maybe we'll do a little something fun.
Yeah, we will definitely. I think we'll have a big gift giveaway here. It'll be lots of fun. So please check it out for sure. So we're going to start out with the Netflix movie Love Hard with Nina Dobrev, and it's Jimmy O. Yang, right?
Yes.
So
he's a comedian.
He is.
And he's hilarious. And this is like a really good, I think, intro for him to act.
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
It was pretty cool. I knew that he was on Silicon Valley. I think he kind of played a jerk in that show, if I remember correctly. And he's actually been in a few films with Melissa McCarthy, which has been interesting too.
But his first lead.
It is his first lead.
I think
it is too.
His first.
I think it is
I'm
too.
a fan.
I am a total fan. It's fantastic. So I want to start out with the title, Love Hard.
Yeah. Not Christmassy at all.
It isn't. And I didn't know if it was like love is hard.
Yeah.
Or I didn't know if they were trying to make a little like, I don't know. I mean, it's very love hard.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was an interesting name to it.
I still don't understand it even after watching it a couple of times, but it's all right.
But it's okay. I can handle it. It's easy to remember.
Yeah.
So we begin this movie with Nina Dobrev, who's basically like a Carrie Bradshaw.
Yes.
Writing about her love life.
She's like Carrie Bradshaw meets How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Oh yeah, completely.
She's like
Kate Hudson.
Yes, a mixture of the two, because she's trying to like document her dating life.
And she documents the dating disasters.
Yes.
And she's kind of known as, like everyone wants to hear her disaster stories.
Yeah.
No one really wants her to have a happy ending.
Exactly.
Especially
her boss.
Totally. Oh my gosh. He is a trip and a half, by the way.
But I love that Nina Dobrev I haven't really seen her in movies.
Yeah.
A bunch of movies. So I'm glad that she's like a lead in a movie. And I love that Jimmy O. Yang is her match in this movie as far as like main characters go, because we need like more representation. And I think after last year, after George Floyd and that whole event that occurred, it opened everyone's eyes that we need more representation in every single culture. So I love that they're having like an Asian actor.
Yes.
It's a bonus points. He's not the only Asian actor in this movie.
No,
either.
he's not. So we go into this, and what I absolutely think is hilarious is that we go right into this kind of catfish story.
Yes.
Where they're on Flirt Alert, which is basically
so funny, like a Tinder.
Yeah, like a Tinder. And she's swiping, and she sees this really good-looking guy.
Before she sees him, though, you gotta like go back to the guy that says, "This could be yours."
Oh my God,
and he's shirtless.
No. Oh no! It was a lot. It was funny because when it first started out, I was like, okay, it's a little corny.
Yeah.
But I also was like, okay, where is this
modern
gonna go?
And it's relevant, though.
Totally,
because
100%.
She's single around the holidays, and I feel like if you're single around the holidays, I feel like you especially feel pressure when it gets to this time of year to have like a mate, because everyone kind of hibernates for the winter and they want someone to take with them to their holiday parties and their family get-togethers. So I think like people are swiping on this, and everyone comes home for the holidays typically.
So she has this flirtation with him, and we see them on the phone for hours. Like there's even a scene where she falls asleep while he's reading to her. I'm like, I don't know how much battery that her phone has.
I know,
but that's,
and then she
I want
woke
that
up
phone.
the next morning, and they're still on the phone together.
They're still on the phone. It was wild.
It was wild.
The thing that was so crazy about this was, the script in this is pretty good for the most part, but the only place my brain brain went was, if I was really connecting with a guy, I, by that time, would probably FaceTime him and be like, hey, it was that was the only unbelievable part of the beginning of the film where I was like, really? You aren't going to like try to get him on FaceTime?
Yeah.
So she's convinced though that she's got a good one, and
she's like, he could be the one.
Totally.
And even like her friend kind of like puts that in her ear, like, you need to make sure this guy's legit. So then he ends up sending her a photo that says the date and his name and everything. And so then they're convinced.
Totally.
And she's like, I'm ready to meet this guy in person. I'm going to bypass the FaceTime. I'm just going to go straight to meeting him in person. He's from like Placid.
Yeah, in like upstate New York.
Yeah.
Which again, I kind of love because almost all Christmas movies have someone either coming in from out of town or they're going back to a place that they used to grow up in. So she's this LA girl and you get to see that big opening shot of the city. And then she goes to this like cute little bungalow town of Lake Placid where people like go hiking and they decorate their lawns with too many Christmas lights.
Way too many.
It's so great. So she decides to surprise him and she shows up at his door, and to her surprise, there is not only a woman that comes in that's his mom, but then he has this extended family.
Yeah.
And she's like, she's seeing the grandma, she's seeing the dad, and it's all making sense because she thought, he was part Asian.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, you hear the song, I just died in your arms tonight.
I love that slow-mo, panning up from the feet. Hilarious.
80s, The Cutting Crew, that song is one of the bangers.
Yeah.
And you think it's going to be this moment where she's meeting the gaze of the man.
Yes.
And it is a 5'5" Asian guy with glasses. And her reaction is not so good.
No, she forgot something and she has to leave.
Oh, it was nuts. I do love the fact that they have this little moment outside where she's like, wait a second, you're freaking nuts. And he's like, wait a second, you're nuts because you just showed up here.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of that, like, okay, it's a little crazy to like just show up on someone's door. And by the way, how did she know where he lived?
He probably told. I don't know.
I know. It was
you know what? I don't know. The Uber driver
knew him. Yep.
But
I don't weed with him too.
Yeah. He also was the luggage attendant at the airport. You can tell how small this town was.
Yes.
But I don't know if that was clear. In the movie.
It was a little bit like she just happened to find it there. Yeah. But whatever. I can sustain, my belief system there. So we go into just this whole thing of her like absolutely like, I don't want this relationship with him. And he basically makes a deal with her. He's like, look, I want you to stay. Just pretend to be my girlfriend. We'll break up at the end of Christmas.
Yeah.
And I will set you up with the real guy in the picture.
Yeah.
And I guess his name is, I think it's Tag.
Yes.
It's Tag, which is really.
I don't understand the name.
Yeah, a little strange.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's a really great part in this that I have to give major props to Nina Dobrev because she was so freaking funny. So Nina has, her character, I think it's Natalie, right? Her character has a kiwi allergy.
Oh my gosh.
And she sings at a karaoke Anything for Love by Meatloaf.
And she's trying to be sexy because Tag is there. So she gets up on the stage and
Liquid Courage, drinks a drink, and lo and behold, it has kiwi in it. And, here she is. She's got her back turned to the audience.
Yeah.
They're panning up her beautiful body.
Yeah.
And the guys are all getting excited.
Yeah.
And then you hear the dun 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 of the piano that builds up in the Meatloaf song. And then she turns around and her face is like the size of a watermelon.
Yeah.
It's
ballooned up and her eyes are like swollen shut.
It's crazy. And she doesn't know that she's like.
So she's just playing it up. She gets on the table and she glances in the mirror. She sees herself and she's absolutely mortified.
Oh, it's hilarious. So thank God she doesn't die from her allergy.
Because she has an EpiPen.
She does have an EpiPen, thank God. And she has this moment outside in the snow with Josh, and then it is one of those moments to where you're just starting to see this energy between them.
Exactly. That's when I knew. I was like, okay, something's gonna happen here.
Yeah,
they're gonna get together. It's totally not the typical movie where the people fall in love. But anyways, we'll get there.
They really go into some interesting stuff with this. I love all the layers of the family. I think we meet. He has a brother. We always have one of those family members who comes in, totally superficial business guy, always trying to one up him.
Yeah,
humiliating him, showing pictures of poor Josh when he was a little kid, and she has this moment with him decorating the tree, and kind of looking at the brother with his gorgeous girlfriend and being like, you know what, actually, like, kind of being a nerd and not being gorgeous right out the womb allowed me to not be an asshole, basically.
Exactly.
So we're really seeing that. And we're also seeing the cute grandmother who's got a dirty sense of humor.
She's adorable.
And then the dad, you can really tell is like, he has a complicated relationship with his son because, they work at outdoors, like an REI local store together. And you can tell that, the son is doing it because, he's doing it for dad. And the dad, you can tell, knows his son isn't quite happy, but you don't get the kind of dad who's like the jerk dad who's like, you've got to do what I do and stay in the store and be a manager. You can tell he's curious about, does his son have different interests? I really like that dynamic that they played in there. And I love that he has this secret side of him that makes these candles that smell like his grandfather.
I know. That was precious.
Oh, it was just so sweet. And it gave another layer to him that was different, was very different.
When I saw things turn with him and I saw more of his heart, it was whenever Natalie and him go rock climbing with Tag.
Oh, I love that scene.
And Natalie is scared of heights. She climbs up to the top and she gets so scared she faints. And Josh. He climbs up there to get her, and he like encourages her and like and tells her she can do it, and he ends up pushing her off, and she does it. He just says like, "I'll be with you. I'm here with you. We're doing this together." And I loved that like sense of teamwork, and I was like, "Oh, he's sweet.
He's so sweet." And the other thing I loved about this whole part of the storyline is I can totally relate to wanting to be everything to the guy that I'm dating, and there's this interesting kind of same but different. So we have Josh, who lied to her about what he physically looked like,
right,
but showed her exactly who he was online.
On the inside, yeah.
And then with her, Tag gets to see beautiful Nina, but she is not a rock climber. She's not a big outdoors girl.
Yeah.
She actually is a vegan and doesn't eat meat. And then here she is trying to be this other person for him. And I think that it's a nice way of actually tackling a subject that I believe is something that we all deal with to some degree of trying to be someone who we're not. And they handled it in a really sweet way that I think is digestible for anyone. And especially, you have people who are beautiful and gorgeous like Nina Dobrev, and you have people who are not so gorgeous, but you also have this insecurity within them of them not being enough.
Right.
So I really
Something that I have to point out, my husband watched this with me twice, and he said he knew we were reviewing this, and he said, you have to mention this if you're reviewing this movie because this is a really big lesson here. He said, so Josh already had everything within him, but he did not have the confidence. And Nina or Natalie comes and she brings that out of him. Remember, whenever she encourages him, she's like, you have such sweet eyes. Like, you need to take your glasses off.
I love that scene of going through his photos.
Yes. She's
like, you look like an axe murderer. Because again, he's trying to be someone that he thinks someone will swipe on. He's got him with an axe.
Yeah.
He has himself with, I think it was like a toilet plunger. There was a rope, and she's like, what are you, Colonel Mustard in the conservatory?
Yeah.
I mean, it was cute. But it was such a sweet moment of her being like, be who you are.
Exactly. Encouraging him to, and then she actually comes across him on, they kind of like got into it and kind of separated a little bit. And then she was just on, what is it called? Flirt alert. And she comes across him and she just was like warmed in her heart that he took her advice. And like, I think that's where her mind turned. But it was a funny kind of thing at the beginning. When they hadn't met yet, they were talking about their favorite Christmas movies, and his was Love Actually. And she was like, what? Love Actually? And her favorite was Die Hard. So that's kind of like a theme going around. And also her least favorite song, Baby, It's Cold Outside.
She
redoes it with him.
I love that scene.
Me too.
And P.S. I hope that they actually like put that out.
That was adorable.
I would download that.
I loved that version.
And play it in my Christmas mix. I thought it was so cute.
Because like they were doing Christmas carols, and he wanted to sing "Baby, It's Cold Outside," and she's like, "I'm not singing that." He's like, "I'll change it. Let's just sing it. Let's do it together." And
he changes the semi-rapey lyrics to very like female empowered.
Yes.
And it was just again really great moment.
It was.
So this movie, you know, what I love about this movie is, you know, obviously we have to come to like a pinnacle point, a climax. And we know that if someone is being catfished and if you're lying about being in a relationship, all of it is going to come to a head. So there's two major scenes towards the end. One is this really cool Christmas Carol scene where Josh is with his family and his brother is like, guess what? We're pregnant.
Yeah.
And then he proposes to Natalie and it is nuts. And it's even amplified more because grandma is so excited. She takes the ring off of her finger.
I know, and gives it to her.
She
was not prepared for that.
And it was such a sweet scene because you can see where Natalie's like, oh my God, this is happening. But she wants to be there for him.
Yeah.
And then my favorite is that Tag actually thinks they're cousins.
Yes.
And
he comes to their
engagement party, which is, again, comedy of errors. You will have to watch it. We can't do it justice by describing it, but it literally is a comedy of errors. And I believe that there is a bit of a redundantness towards the end of the movie. The speeches about when they go to the old people's home and they talk about like the grandmother's so excited about Flirt Alert and she wants old people to know that they can get on it. And, you know, he talks about being who you are. And then Natalie gets up when she's, you know, exposed as being this writer who, you know, is not really going to marry Josh. She talks about, again, not being like authentic of who she really is.
Right.
So it was a little redundant in that where I was like, okay, they both admit it. Those were the only things where I kind of wish that they would have, it felt like they were saying the same thing, just differently. Other than that, I loved the writing in this.
Yeah, it was adorable.
It was so sweet. And the ending of this was probably one of my favorites because it was so saccharine and sweet because they take a page out of Love Actually. And just when you think that that Natalie's going to go back to LA and that their relationship is over, she has this feeling in her. It's like right before she's going to leave, she goes on the Flirt Alert app. She sees that he changes the pictures. She's realizing that she really cares about Josh for who he is. And Tag doesn't end up being anything. She has no chemistry with him. And she takes a page out of Love Actually and she does the cards where she knocks on the door and she has him read the cards. And it's so sweet.
It is.
The message that, you know, she said she's actually falling in love with him, which was so sweet.
I loved that for them.
So
should we talk about the scorecard?
We have to talk about the core score, and we have to actually talk about like what we actually give this as a review, as our rating, and then also like in terms of Christmas, like on a scale of 1 to 10. So let's go to the scorecard, guys. So we have this time around. We'll let you know what it is. So we've got a point for the main character is single around the holidays.
Yes, she's
Cha-ching,
single. She's on Flirt Alert.
Number 2, a high school reunion is involved.
No high school reunion.
No high school. A case with mistaken identity.
Yes.
Definitely.
This is like a big exclamation mark. Yes.
Next one, Chels.
Corporate business person who hates the holidays only to be transformed through events out of their control. I think we're going to use this one as his brother.
Yes.
Because he's a business person, and in the end, he comes out and he sees her holding the Love Actually cards, and I think he comes around to it.
Yes. Then we have America's Sweetheart for female lead. I mean, come on.
Nina Dobrev.
Vampire Diaries. Yes. We love her. And then Someone is Far From Home for Christmas. Nina.
Then we have the superficial character, which obviously is his brother again. Very superficial. Also his fiance or wife or whatever. She's also very superficial.
Divine intervention from Santa, elves, or whatever mystical snow creature there is. No, didn't happen.
This was more realistic than that. Opening shot in a major city with an identifiable landmark, Los Angeles.
LA, baby. And then cultural diversity in the cast. Bonus point if one of the leads is of different ethnicity. And hey, they scored big on this.
They scored really big on this.
So I want to talk a little bit about this because, you know, it was interesting that, you know, there's so many what I call beautiful people leads. And, you know, it's not that Jimmy isn't a cutie, but he is an acquired taste for any woman. He's 5'5". He's got glasses. He is somebody who, you know, if you were swiping, I think that the one thing that is a little like debatable in this is that initially you do have to have that attraction with someone.
Right.
I love that she got the chance to get to know him.
Yes.
But do we believe that Natalie would have swiped on him if she saw his picture?
Initially, no.
Yeah. And I think that that's a good thing to actually have the real conversation about is like, wow, we still really are, when it comes to dating, we are very superficial.
I think even more so than ever with social media. I mean, the whole premise of like Tinder and Bumble and all these dating apps is like you see the person's picture, you see their face.
Yep. And you get basically some bullet points about their interests.
I mean, you do need to have a physical attraction to someone.
Yeah.
But I think over time, that's like initial. But as you grow to know that person more, that becomes, they honestly become more attractive because of their personality, or they should.
Yeah. I think with this, the only thing I didn't like about this movie is I did not feel the chemistry between the two of them. I felt the friendship. Yes. I definitely felt the sweetness, but I did not think that those two were going to make out and tear each other's clothes off under the mistletoe.
That's true. But I think you can have different relationships, and maybe their personalities are the kind that, like, I think Jimmy O for sure is the kind that would be more into having like a best friendship with someone. That's their kind of that's their kind of like climax of what a good relationship would be like. I totally agree with you on that. But I think Nina Dobrev I could see being both.
Yeah,
like she could have that like passionate relationship with someone, but also like a best friendship too. And I agree with you, they're more like best friends, but maybe that works.
Yeah, maybe it does work. I do think as a criticism of the movie,
right,
I do think they could have worked a little bit more and had a few more interactions to where there was, you see the attraction, you feel the attraction. Even with Tag, I was kind of like, there wasn't enough with him. I mean, he was cute, but like there just wasn't enough to really go off of her making any decisions about him one way or the other. There was a lot of comedic moments with them.
Yeah,
but that was the only thing missing for me in this.
I agree with you.
Yeah. As far as our rating on our scorecard, we have an 8 out of 10, which is like...
But we got the bonus point.
We did.
For the one of the leads. So we actually have 9.
9. So 9 out of 10 out of our scorecard. So this means that it's a pretty awesome Christmas movie to watch. Yes. It meets the criteria that
it's different. It's like has a play on modern society and also Christmas spirit and coming together as family. It's got all the check marks.
Yeah, and I laughed out loud in this in instances where I wasn't really expecting.
Yeah.
And I love the music. The soundtrack to this was so much fun. A lot of 80s throwbacks. I love that she she rock climbed or wall climbed to Don't You Forget About Me by the Breakfast Club scene.
I love them.
Simple Minds, so good.
I love the soundtrack as well.
So good. I would personally give this movie, I would say it is like a 7.5 out of 10. I liked it a lot. It's not going to be one that I put on every year.
Right. I agree with you. 7.5 Christmas trees out of 10 Christmas trees. Can we do that?
Yes, let's do that. Let's totally do it.
I'm going to agree with you on that. I might even do like a 7 Christmas trees out of 10. It's a fun, different one if you're looking for a new movie to watch. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. And it was so much fun. Nina Dobrev was amazing. Jimmy O, I can't wait to see more of him. And other than that, I have to raise a cocoa cup to you.
Cheers.
First one down.
First one down. Stay tuned.
Ho, ho, ho.
We got more to come.